When I was 13, I experienced the ghost of my grandmother. She died in her sleep while taking a nap on the living room couch. Afterwards, according to my father and grandfather, every now and then we'd hear her make a trip from the bedroom to the kitchen and open the refrigerator door, a trip she made many times when she was alive. At first, I thought my father and grandfather were making this up, just having fun at my expense. But a couple years after she passed away, my father and I went to spend a weekend with my grandfather. My father and I slept on the living room couch. It opened into a double bed, the same couch my grandmother died on. My grandfather left the house to go to the next door neighbor's house to play poker. My father and I were in bed in the living room. I laid awake reading a magazine. After a while, I heard the noise of the back bedroom door being pulled open. I heard the sound of shuffling feet. I heard the crack of the floor directly in front of the bedroom doorway. I heard more shuffling feet. I heard the fridge door being pulled open, and I heard the sound of glass bottles in the fridge door clinking around together. Feeling thirsty, I decided to get out of bed and join my grandfather in the kitchen for a cold drink. I go into the kitchen, only to find myself all alone. I was puzzled. I could have sworn I heard my grandfather walk from the bedroom into the kitchen. Then I remembered my grandfather wasn't even home. He was over at the neighbor's house and he hadn't come back yet. Then I remembered my grandfather and my father's ghost stories. Then I got scared. I raced from the kitchen into the living room and leaped over my sleeping father onto my side of the bed. Then I went to sleep. A feeling of paralyzing fear in my body. I was frozen. I was laying on my right side. It took a while for me to work up the courage to turn my head to the left. My head was covered with my blanket. There was a shadow being cast onto my blanket. The shadow was the outline of a head and shoulders of a woman with a beehive hairdo. My grandmother used to have a beehive hairdo even years after they went out of style, up until she died. I heard heavy breathing coming from the shadow. I had to work up the courage to move my hands off of the blanket. And when I did, in an instant, a paralyzing fear I felt was gone. The shadow was gone. The sound of heavy breathing was gone. My father was still sleeping. I pulled the blanket back over my head and went back to sleep, only to wake up on my right side. The paralyzing fear was back, forcing me to turn my head. The shadow was back. The heavy breathing was back. Again, I had summoned all my courage to move my hand and take the blanket off of my face, only to find nothing there, and the paralyzing fear was again gone. The next morning, I told my father what had happened to me throughout the entire night while he slept. The sound of the bedroom door opening, the shuffling feet, the fridge door opening, nobody in the kitchen, being awakened by a paralyzing fear, the shadow, the heavy breathing, the repeat performances throughout the night. I kind of expected him to tell me that I was seeing and hearing things, but instead he smiled and exclaimed, "That was Grandma." Hey guys, thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed.